Thank you for choosing to watch the Watchman News Headlines video. Our full episodes can now be seen over at Patreon with much more added content for just $2 a month. Link is in the description. If you cannot afford $2 a month, please consider using our Amazon affiliate link, purchasing from our Teespring store, or making a PayPal donation. All links are below. In order for us to grow, we have to make changes to enable it. Our time is valuable, and we have been one of the very few news sources actually dedicated to bringing you honest, hard-hitting, actionable news and information. Plus, for your $2 a month, you do not have to hear me blabber about these links. It's a win for us all.
Bullshit.
Thank you. Good evening, Watchmen and Watchwomen of YouTube. So, tonight we talked about this big push with vaccine passports and what my thoughts are on it, whether or not it's the mark of the beast, and what all I think it's involving. It's very concerning. I have to say that it's extremely concerning, and I think it's one of the elephants in the room. I really certainly do. I think they're going to be sneaking in a lot on us, and I think this is part of the big push that I had been speaking about for years, that they were going to make a big push. And I think this vaccine passport is a very large part of that. So I'll make a reminder, it's the end of the month, which means starting tomorrow is the beginning of a new month. And join us over on Patreon, where you get to see these monologues in their entirety. And soon to be a lot of stuff. I got a lot of projects I'm waiting to get started on, and looks like I'm right on the cusp of getting started on them. So going to be a very busy month coming up for me, which means it's going to have a lot of content on Patreon. Might be a good month to join up over there. So anyway, on to those headlines. Starting out with some from last night. Biden's Mark of the Beast Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene fiercely denounces vaccine passport initiative. Well, I do too, without a doubt, as we should all. Pfizer says it's, now on to news I put out this morning. So, Pfizer said its COVID-19 vaccine protects younger teens. New York set to legalize recreational cannabis after lawmakers pass and Cuomo vows to sign the bill. Yeah, he just can't keep his hands off anything, including bills. Russia's Arctic sea route draws growing global investor interest, a foreign ministry says. Two lucky winners selected for first all-civilian SpaceX flight into orbit. Sounds interesting. China set to buy millions of barrels of cheap Iranian crude oil this month. Let's see. We can't erase the past, we have to learn from it. Archbishop of Canterbury decries cancel culture. Chinese city on Myanmar border imposes week-long lockdown in response to new coronavirus cluster. EU digital vaccine certificates for COVID-19 could be ready in May, says Spanish foreign minister. I mean, we're seeing a big global push for this stuff. Russia registers world's first COVID-19 vaccine for cats and dogs as makers of Sputnik V warn pets and farm animals could spread the virus. Russian economy set to perform better than expected after COVID-19 crisis, says the World Bank. Berlin to require negative COVID-19 tests for entry to non-essential businesses amid rise in new cases. All schools should shut, says Paris mayor, with 20,000 students forced home because of COVID as Macron set to update the nation. Australia falls short of COVID-19 vaccine target after EU blocks jab shipments. China rejects allegations it did not properly share COVID-19 data with WHO researchers. One Bitcoin will be worth a Lamborghini by year's end and a Bugatti by 2023, says the Kraken CEO. Chainsaw-armed man who had enough of lockdown wrestled to the ground outside Slovenian parliament. I would say it sounds like that guy had enough. Latvia begins blocking RT news site aimed at country's Russian-speaking minority as outlet accuses Riga of attack on free press. Beijing accuses BBC of spreading fake news and blasts reporter for running from China as Xinjiang citizens plot legal action. Netherlands-sized rainforest land destroyed in 2020 despite COVID-19 lockdowns, says a report. Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine 100% effective in 12 to 15-year-old children, the company announces. Jakarta police shoot woman in reported gun battle days after suicide bomber church attack. Aussie scientists suggest biting back with electrified PPE to stop shark attacks. Or another idea is don't go in the water with the sharks. That's an idea. Moscow expresses disgust after U.S. general turned arms industry lobbyist Ben Hodges says no Russians died in World War II, only Ukrainians. India considers over $1 billion in cash incentives for every chip maker setting up in the country, says the media. Huawei posts record profit in 2020 despite mounting U.S. pressure. More than 60% of Britons support COVID-19 vaccine passports for everyday things like pub visits, a new poll finds. I'm telling you, they're really pushing it. Russian diplomats expelled from Rome amid reports Italy has arrested military officers on charges of secretly spying for Moscow. Conservative host Steven Crowder claims voter fraud on YouTube gets restricted and demonetized in the latest blow from big tech. Hide the Pain Herald meme inadvertently used by Stockholm Health Authority to call elderly for COVID-19 vaccinations. It's funny they used a picture from a well-known meme. That's funny. Moscow and St. Petersburg in top 10 for annual house price rises as Russia's property boom continues during COVID-19 pandemic. That using that for that's great. Accurate. EU Commission takes Poland to Europe's top court and bid to protect independence of country's judges. As London seeks to boost military spending, Telegraph obliges with ludicrous claims that Russia has military advantage over NATO. Beyond farce, CNN states there's no consensus criteria to determine child sex at birth. Not bots, comedians, Amazon reportedly recruited Twitter army of employees with great sense of humor to defend the company. WHO says Sinopharm and Sinovac COVID-19 vaccines have efficacy levels compatible with its requirements. Germany drops probe against ex-Nazi guard deported from the U.S. after he refuses to be questioned. New American report blames Russia for political repression and harsh prison conditions, but Moscow says it's heard it all before. Harmful content not fault of faceless machines, Facebook VP Nick Clegg says while blaming users for polarizing content. Most of Sweden's very vulnerable as government delays easing of COVID measures by 3 weeks after worst infection day this year. Germany's Merkel, France's Macron, and Russia's Putin used video call to discuss potential cooperation over Sputnik V COVID-19 vaccine. Epstein and Maxwell told victim they would feed her to alligators and raped her in front of her 8-year-old son, a new lawsuit claims. That is insane. Trump teases 2024 run and promises more rallies and interview banned from social media. Russia's Euro 2020 organizing bosses approve 50% stadium capacity in St. Petersburg. EU fights to speed up COVID vaccine rollout with delivery of 107 million doses by the end of March. Active hunter-gatherers don't burn more energy daily than sedentary Westerners. Thought that was interesting. COVID-19 variants stronger and faster. WHO emergencies chief warns as worrying shift shows more young people in intensive care. YouTube blocks and then unblocks highly popular RT Arabic channel after US-based company files copyright infringement claims. Jailed Russian opposition figure Navalny announces he will go on hunger strike and demands medication and doctor of his own choosing. U.S. political groups urge Biden to put an end to reckless rhetoric with Putin after killer comments sparked diplomatic storm. U.S. military's new transgender policy will pay troops transition bills, says reports. Gang of knife-wielding thugs who targeted Arsenal duo Ozil and Kolasinac jailed for more than 100 years. UK government launches immediate investigation into sexual abuse in schools after 11,000 alleged victims post testimonies online. France shuts school for 3 weeks and whole country heads for lockdown amid COVID-19 spike as Macron defends measures. Court in British Virgin Island bars Ukrainian shipping firm from hiding assets from Russian state in bank expropriation dispute. Black suspect arrested for attack on 65-year-old Asian American woman in New York was on parole for stabbing his mother to death. U.S. Border Patrol rescues 6-month-old baby thrown into Rio Grande River by smugglers. Microsoft lands $21 billion contract to arm U.S. soldiers with futuristic augmented reality headsets. Finland's government backs down on plan to lock city dwellers in their homes as proposed anti-COVID measures deemed unconstitutional. Obama canceled. Activists object to naming Illinois City School after ex-POTUS saying he was deporter-in-chief. 15 million doses of Johnson & Johnson vaccine ruined in ingredient mix-up accident at Baltimore plant, delaying U.S. shipments and triggering probe. Scientists create improved biological robots from frog cells capable of swarm behavior, memory, and self-healing. Apple will stop assuming Siri's gender and force users to pick up their digital servant's voice out of the box. Or to pick it out of the box. And that's it. That's the headlines. So I am going to get out of here. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll do it again to close up another week. So anyway, I hope everybody has a good night. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.